What are you doing?
Fighting with some twat on a dating app.
Do you have to do that now?
Well, I can't let it go too long without responding because he jumps on his messages, and I don't want to risk him having the last word and then unmatching.
Arrive, make out, get naked. He gives me head, I rim him, I fuck him, he leaves. None of my others have any problems following this agenda, but with you, there's always something batshit thrown into the mix.
Yeah, but I'm not like all of your other little twinkses and all of their little,
Ow, wait, hold on. Huh. Ow, wait. Can we take a break?
Frustratingly accurate.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dekkoo In Depth. I'm Ross, and boy, we are having deja vu over here because for the second time, we are talking to the writer, star, director, editor, writer. I think I said writer twice, but basically, Jack Tracy. He does everything on Danny Will Die Alone. Hello, Jack. Thank you so much for coming back.
It's good to be back. I'm so excited about this new season.
So we are back just a few short months later for season 2 of Danny Will Die Alone. And I think the thing that people will notice the fastest that is different about this season is that the episodes are longer. We're at a more traditional now sitcom length. What was kind of your process for figuring out how to tell deeper, richer, more full-length stories?
So, when Dekkoo was gracious enough to pick us up, the original season, the season 1 is really the web series that I had done prior to that discussion. So that's why those are sort of 10-minute little pieces that are just meant for like web digestion. So when we were picked up and I was told, look, your marching orders are make it a longer show, give a continuing storyline. And I thought to myself that Danny could really use a foil. He has no pushback in the first season at all. So I needed someone that he could kind of spar against, which was the creation of the character Maddie, played by Jordan Bell, who's an addition to the cast. And then it was also figuring out, what the through line was, which I decided would be told with Maddie so that we could preserve the one episode date format while the A story was whatever's going on between Danny and Maddie.
Yeah, and now that you brought him up already, so yeah, Maddie is definitely the other piece that people are going to notice is different about this season. Talk a little bit about what went into creating Maddie.
So I write the character, and my initial inspiration for him is Shameless, US Shameless. I wanted him to be sort of angry and aggressive. And that sort of got tempered once Jordan got cast. So that was sort of the idea. I held auditions, cast someone initially, and literally within 2 hours of being cast, they backed out. And I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? And so went back to the well, found Jordan, and he ended up being the best thing that could happen for the show because our chemistry is just incredible. We discovered that, we didn't really have a rehearsal period. We just show up to set and start rolling. And when it happened, it was just very clear within the first couple of scenes that we bounced off of each other really well.
Yeah, and I'm curious, did you have priorities when you're writing season 2 of what specifically you wanted Danny to be challenged on? Because you're right that season 1, partially because of the episode length themselves, but also just we're seeing his perspective all the time. So we are thinking like, yep, this is our Danny.
Why is everyone either married or ugly? So rude.
So walk me through what that was like to start challenging this character that is an extension of you.
So Danny's core characteristics is that he's very self-centered, extremely judgmental, and definitely has strong opinions and talks a lot. I mean, the show has so many straight to camera monologues because he's confiding to the audience. If Danny is a scalpel, Maddie is a club. And I wanted him to be far more blunt and to the point and take absolutely none of Danny's shit. Because the only person in the first season Danny talks to is the audience, and the audience can't tell Danny when he's being too judgmental or being an asshole. So the idea was to get someone who could actually do that. It just leads to some very funny arguments that sometimes they get to the level of sort of like Karen and Rosario in some ways, setting up that kind of dynamic from Will and Grace. It just became so much fun to do.
If you want an actual threesome, that could be arranged.
I have a hard enough time finding one top, let alone two. You as a people aren't really known for being good with calendars or
reliability in general.
Me and my buddy Garrett, we've been thinking about it.
Garrett? Oh, he's certainly a bottom.
Oh, do you need to be the only one? Does someone need to be the center of attention?
Obviously.
Come on. He's only 27. He needs a mentor. He needs someone older who's been around the block like a million times. Someone older than him and wiser. Much, much older. We can play Test the Outlets. It's my favorite. Oh, you know, I put two of you on top of each other, then I just go from hole to hole like I'm testing which outlet works.
It's interesting that you say that this season definitely has more of a give and take with Danny and Maddie. And when we talked about season 1, you talked about being influenced by Veep, by Arrested Development, by these kind of very fast-paced comedy shows. So by introducing a second lead, essentially, did you draw inspiration from other kind of famous duos or couples like that?
Well, yeah, it's mostly Shameless. That was really the inspiration for these two because they're both kind of crass and argumentative, hyperbolic. It's aggressive, but they're not catty. It's not snippy, snarky, catty gay that you get in a lot of productions. This is very almost like New Yorker, go F yourself kind of aggression between the two of them. So I really wanted to make sure that they were unique as a pairing. I don't think I have seen two gay male lead characters really act this way towards each other.
Yeah, maybe like a small shade of Joel Kim Booster's Fire Island. But yeah, you're right. This is a pretty unique scenario and production that you have built up. Some of the things that this season tackles includes polyamory, and I can't believe I'm saying this on camera, but fisting.
Ho!
Are there any, I guess, trends or things in modern dating that you couldn't really include this time, but you still have kind of nagging thoughts on?
Well, spoiler alert, season 3 is already written, so I don't want to give away anything that's in there. I will say something that's not in either season. I felt like this had to be done delicately, and I came up with other ideas, so I passed it by. But the idea that Danny has masculine feminine hangups, and like he matches with someone on an app who's like appears very masculine and then in person is quite feminine, but they only date masked people. So like he can't, can I be like, he's grappling with the like, I'm the problem, I need to like expand my horizons, but this guy's just as bad. And I felt like it had to be delicately done so it didn't feel like we were like femme shaming anybody. That got left on the cutting room floor. I came up with better ideas.
That's good that you left only the best ideas for us. But no, I think that's really interesting. And there is a little bit more about gender expression and how that kind of operates in our world in this season. But I think that's a really interesting point. Could you talk a little bit about your podcast that you do separate, but kind of in conversation with Danny Will Die Alone?
Dying Alone Together was the impetus and like one of the first things that really led to the series. Back during the pandemic, it was still quarantine. I started with doing these like straight to camera YouTube comedic blogs about some of these topics. They were just sort of like monologue-y type things. And then that became a podcast with my co-host JJ at the time. And we would swipe the apps together and talk about dating adventures and this and that. And stories from that and situations and the monologues really merged to create Danny Will Die Alone. So I had retired it about 2 years ago because I started dating somebody, and I don't think talking about the relationship I'm currently in is a good thing. So I had put it on pause, and I just brought it back mainly to talk through behind the scenes of the show. So right now we're finishing season 1, and then it comes out on Mondays. And so the Monday after the premiere, we're going to talk about each episode, behind the scenes, filming, stuff that was cut, et cetera, and try to get some of the actors back for interviews. So that'll be running parallel to season 2.
I always love kind of extra little tidbits behind the scenes because, I mean, the thing that I learned when I was prepping for this, and I can kind of see it in your screen right now, is that the set for Danny Will Die Alone is partially your house.
Always is. It's the cheapest property to rent.
Putting in your profile that you are not into playing games is not going to stop someone who is into playing games from playing games with you. And if you are unfortunate enough to come across me, you are basically begging to have your time wasted in gamesmanship for my own perverse enjoyment. Because if I'm not going to find love, I'm at least gonna have a good fucking time.
Have you pillaged other people in your life for their spaces to film in?
No, I've been doing this a long time, so all of my favors have run out. People are sick of having me film in their places, so we rent everything. However, I do want to mention Fresco's Grand Cantina and Fresco's Cantina, sister restaurants. They're LGBTQ owned and operated in Astoria. They donated their restaurant, which is closed on Mondays, to allow us to film all of our restaurant scenes. Big thank you. They have a big thank you in the credits. They were a ton of help to us, so it's really nice when the community supports.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, we love supporting and applauding queer businesses where we can. And I mean, I'm here to applaud a fantastic queer creator, Jack Tracy. Thank you so much for walking us through season 2 of Danny Will Die Alone, which, as of this release, is streaming now on Dekkoo. Thank you so much for taking the time, Jack. Always appreciate it.
Good to see you.